everybody, and welcome to this edition of HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappy here. And today we were supposed to be joined by the guys, but unfortunately, a couple last-minute things came up, so it's just me. And we're going to talk some fantasy football in a moment. But first, I want to let you know our first Hopkinton Hillers fall sports broadcast takes place on September 5th. You can catch our broadcast schedule on our website, HCAM-TV. We'll have all the varsity home games for fall sports, including boys and girls soccer, football, girls volleyball, field hockey. It's going to be an action-packed season, so be sure to be on the lookout for the HCAM Hopkinton Hillers broadcast schedule. It will be posted in the next week or so, and our first broadcast will be girls soccer on September 5th. And we're happy to announce that joining us for the girls soccer broadcast is going to be Peter Thomas from hopnews.com. He's going to do some color broadcasting with me. I'll be on play-by-play. Should be a fun time for girls soccer this season. They got some great players coming back, so we certainly look forward to the season for girls soccer. And, of course, boys soccer, who looks to get some revenge after a tough exit from the state championship last year. They had a tremendous season going all the way to the state championship, but fell in the final few minutes. And they look forward to hopefully getting back to that spot this year and maybe taking home the trophy. And, of course, Hiller football. They were young last year. They're a little bit more experienced this year. We're expecting big things from Hiller football, so be on the lookout. It's going to be an exciting fall sports season here on HCAM. But the plan for today's show is we're going to talk some fantasy football with the guys, but unfortunately, a couple of them had prior commitments, and one of them had a bail last minute, so it's just me. But that's okay, and what we were going to do, our plan was, we're going to let you know who we think our top three at each position was, and maybe some sleeper picks that you could grab in the draft. Now, with the fantasy football draft coming up, I didn't want to leave you hanging, so we're going to do it anyway. I do have Steve Watson's picks, so I'll be able to read those off, who he thinks you should draft. And, of course, I got who I think you should draft, or who I think could potentially be good picks this year. Now, my fantasy football record wasn't too great last year, so take it with a grain of salt, but we love talking football on this show, so let's do it. Let's have some fun. All right, the first position we're going to go over is quarterback, and Steve Watson, his top three quarterbacks in the NFL. He has Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills at number 3, Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals at number 2, and Pat Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs at number 1. Now, those might be the top 3 in the league, but one thing you have to look at is stats. That's the most important. Who is putting up those big numbers? In large part, I agree with Steve on many of these picks, and I certainly like all three quarterbacks, and I think all three of them are very good pickups. But my top 3, I got Joe Burrow as my number 3 of the Cincinnati Bengals. Hopefully he could stay healthy. He's had some injury problems in recent seasons, including last year. He was out for a couple games. But if he could stay healthy, he could put up a lot of points. And number 2, a guy I'm surprised Steve didn't include, Jalen Hurts. He is just incredible. Not only can he pass the ball, but he's also a tremendous rusher. I think he's probably the second overall biggest point scorer in the league. I'll let you know number 1 in a minute. But last season, he had 165 rush attempts, which is more than some of the key running backs in the league. And he had 13 rushing touchdowns, which is absolutely incredible. Jalen Hurts, that's a player that's probably going to go in the first round. So if you could grab him and you got one of those top picks, he's definitely highly recommended. And, of course, number 1, you got to go Pat Mahomes. He took another Super Bowl last season. He is just tremendous. And with Tom Brady retiring, I hate to admit it, but Pat Mahomes is certainly the number 1 most talented quarterback in the league right now. So there's our top 3 quarterbacks. Let's move on to tight ends. Who does Steve got for tight ends? At number 3 is Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. Great pick. George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers at number 2, and Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs at number 1. I think all three of those are tremendous pickups. As you know, tight end in fantasy football, not the highest scoring position, but if you could grab one of those three guys, you certainly got yourself a good tight end. My top three is a little different, but pretty much the same. At number 3, I got George Kittle. And number 2, Mark Andrews. Number 1, Travis Kelce. The only difference was I had Mark Andrews at 2, Steve had him at 3, and I got Kittle at 3, and Steve had Kittle at 2. Now, here's why I did that. I like George Kittle, and I actually think George Kittle has more talent than Mark Andrews when he's healthy. But injuries has been a huge problem for George Kittle. He's a risky pick, but certainly a worthwhile pick if he stays healthy. Now, my sleepers for tight ends, I got Mike Gesicki of the New England Patriots. I think he has the potential to really bolster this Patriots offense, which is certainly going to need some bolstering with their lack of receiving. But I think Gesicki was a good pickup by the Pats in the offseason, and I think he has a chance to put up some points and also be their key tight end. Hunter Henry is tremendous, but he's getting a little older now, so I really like Mike Gesicki. My other sleeper, Jawan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints. This guy came on strong in the second half of the season. He was absolutely tremendous in the second half of the season and put up a lot of points. And I think he's going to take a step up this year. He's a young guy. I believe it's his sophomore season, so he's a guy to look out for. One thing I did not mention was my sleepers on quarterback. My sleepers on quarterback, Aaron Rodgers of the New York Jets. I think he's very happy with the change of scenery. The Jets have some good weapons to go around him. They also brought a couple of familiar faces that is familiar to Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb. And there's also another name that I'm forgetting off the top of my head right now. He was Lazard, Alan Lazard. So he's got Cobb and Lazard coming with him to the New York Jets. I think that's really going to help out Aaron Rodgers. And not only that, the New York Jets have a absolutely tremendous defense. And I said it all season last year. The one thing this Jets team is missing is a quarterback, and now they got one. So look out for the New York Jets. I hate to say that. I'm obviously a Patriots fan, but the New York Jets, I think, are going to be really good this season. My other sleeper quarterback, believe it or not, it's Derek Carr. Now, if you remember, Derek Carr was on the Las Vegas Raiders last season, and he had an so-so year, very subpar, not great. Raiders didn't really do much. They ended up having a losing season, but they dealt with a ton of injuries. And Derek Carr was a guy that needed a change of scenery. And now he has that change of scenery as he heads to the New Orleans Saints, and he's going to be their starter. And the Saints also have a very strong backup if anything shall happen to Carr. They got Jameis Winston as the backup. Now, if you remember last year, Jameis Winston had a brutal leg injury, and he was out for most of the season, and that essentially ruined the Saints' season. And will Jameis Winston be able to be the same? He looked pretty good in preseason. It is preseason, but he looked very good, and it's good to see that he's healthy. But Derek Carr, I think, is going to be a great starter, and I think is a worthwhile pickup. If you're picking up a quarterback in those mid to late rounds, Derek Carr is probably going to be available. So I think that's a guy to look at. And the Saints also have some tremendous weapons. They got some great weapons. They got Kamara at running back, and they also brought in what's-his-face from Detroit, who was one of the top running backs last season. Another name I'm forgetting. I should have wrote it down. And they have Jawan Johnson, a tight end that I just mentioned, and some good receivers as well. So look out for the New Orleans Saints. That team in general is a sleeper, and I think they're going to run away with the NFC South. That NFC South, very weak. The Saints, I don't think they are weak. I think they're a pretty strong team. So I think the Saints have a great shot here to do some damage, and I think they're certainly much improved from last season. All right, let's move down to wide receiver. Steve's top 3 includes CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. He's a good receiver, good all-around asset to the Dallas Cowboys. Had a great season last year, could certainly put up some strong numbers. Number 2 is Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals. How can you not love Jamar Chase? He might be the next Randy Moss. Some of the catches he makes, some of those one-handers are just absolutely incredible, and he has all kinds of speed. And a guy who really lit the scene on fire last season is his number 1 pick, Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. Tremendous athlete. I agree with Steve on that number 1. He's certainly a worthwhile number 1, but I have a different one, and I'll let you know who that is in just a moment. But if you can grab Justin Jefferson, you're probably going to have to do it at the very latest, the 3rd or 4th round, because usually people take running backs first. It's certainly a worthwhile pickup. My top 3 receivers are Christian Watson of the Green Bay Packers. This is a guy that I think a lot of people are going to forget about because he didn't come on strong until like the last 3-4 weeks of the season. But when he came on, he came on. He was unbelievable those last few weeks of Green Bay's season. And he almost turned their season around, but they had too many losses by then to really do any damage. But Christian Watson, a guy to look out for. I highly recommend him. He has tremendous speed, and I think he's something special. So that's why I have him at my number 3. And I actually have a tie at number 3. I could not disinclude Tyreek Hill of the Miami Dolphins. My worry with Tyreek Hill is his quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, does not have the arm that Pat Mahomes has. So I don't know if you're going to see as many of those burn by him plays that you saw in Kansas City from Tyreek Hill, but I think you're going to see some really good catches. He's the fastest receiver in the league, arguably, at this point. I think Christian Watson might be up there with him. But I got him tied at number 3 with Christian Watson. I'm sorry, I couldn't decide, but Tyreek Hill, good pickup, and he's probably going to fall a little bit. You might be able to scoop him up in round 2 or 3. Number 2, I got Justin Jefferson. I heavily agree with Steve. He is a tremendous talent, and he has great potential, and Minnesota has a pretty good offense. So Jefferson is going to find opportunities to get open. And my number 1, Jamar Chase. I put Chase at 1. He was injured a bit last year. So statistically, he didn't match the numbers of Jefferson. But I'll tell you what, if he stays healthy, he is Cincinnati's go-to guy, their main weapon, and he could burn by any cornerback. And if he plays all 17 games now this season, look out. I think he's going to be the league leader in everything. My sleeper picks for receiver, we're going back to New Orleans. Chris Olave, I think, is a good sleeper pick. And this is a guy that you could probably pick up in the mid to late rounds of the draft. He had a good season last year, and I think he was pretty underrated. And I think he's going to take a step up this season. It's his 2nd season in the league. He had 72 receptions last year and 1,042 yards with 4 touchdowns. I think you're going to see those touchdown numbers go up. Derek Carr, more of a passing quarterback than Jameis Winston. Let's not forget, Winston also ran the ball a lot. You won't see that from Carr. You're going to see a whole lot more passing. So look out for those Saints receivers, especially Chris Olave, who's their number 1. I think that could be a great pickup that you could grab somewhere in the mid to late rounds of the draft. My other sleeper pick is Garrett Wilson from the New York Jets. This is a guy that you probably haven't heard of unless you watch a lot of Jets football. He's actually their number 1 this season, and it's his 2nd season in the league. Last year, he had 83 receptions for 1,103 yards, 4 touchdowns. The problem with the Jets last year, and I mentioned it earlier, they had a terrible quarterback situation. It was not good. They had Zach Taylor, I think was his name, or his name's not even important. He was so bad. He's their backup this year. Aaron Rodgers is their starter. You're going to see a whole different looking Jets offense in a very good way if you're a Jets fan. If you're a Patriots fan, not so much. But look out for Garrett Wilson. I think this is a guy that has a ton of speed, and he has the opportunity to make a lot of noise with Aaron Rodgers under center. Moving on to the kickers. Kicker is a very underrated part of fantasy football. They have the potential to produce a lot of points. So you certainly want to get yourself a good kicker. Steve's top three. Young-Ho Koo of the Atlanta Falcons at number 3. And he has Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs at number 2. And Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens at number 1. I like those picks. Justin Tucker, probably one of the most reliable kickers in the league. He doesn't miss much, and that's very important in a kicker. And he certainly has job security. He's been in Baltimore forever, and he's still going strong. Harrison Butker also had a good season. And as you know, the Chiefs get in the red zone quite a bit. So Harrison Butker certainly has the opportunity to put up a lot of points. My top 3, little different than Steve's. My number 3, Brett Maher of the Denver Broncos. This was a guy that was on Dallas last season, and he went 29 for 32. And pardon my Chris Collinsworth there. Here's a guy. He went 29 for 32, only missed 3 field goals, and he has a long of 60 yards. Problem is, he's on the Denver Broncos. They don't have the most potent offense, but that doesn't mean they're not going to get a lot of field goals. I believe Russell Wilson, he has to take a step up from last year. He was just atrocious last season. And I think overall, Russell Wilson is a very talented quarterback. I just think he had a really tough transition to the Denver Broncos. I think he takes a step up this year. I think you see more points out of the Broncos. I don't think they could score any less than they did last year, but I think you see more points out of the Broncos, and I think you see some good results from their new kicker that they signed in free agency away from Dallas, Brett Maher. He went 34 for 37 last year, and he hit 91.9% of his field goals. And actually, that's the next guy I'm talking about. Maher was 29 for 32 last year, excuse me. The next guy went 34 for 37. He's my number 2. That is Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, it's a little bit iffy. Seattle unexpectedly had a powerful offense last season. I don't know if they're going to be able to repeat that this year. They are still in the process of getting rid of some salary cap. So they've been signing really young guys, and they've been looking for good contracts. But Jason Myers, very, very reliable kicker. And as you look at the numbers last year, he had 37 opportunities. That is up there with the most amount in the league. So Seattle kicks a lot of field goals. So Jason Myers is a guy to look at. My number 1, Daniel Carlson of the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm pretty pumped about what the Raiders did in the offseason. They brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, and they also brought in a familiar face to Patriots Nation, Brian Hoyer, as their backup, good solid backup. And they got some good receivers over there as well, such as Devontae Adams. I think the Raiders are going to take a big step up this year, and I think they'll be a pretty good football team. And I think Daniel Carlson, like last year, will get a lot of field goal opportunities. Carlson, very similar numbers to Jason Myers, went 34 for 37 last year and had a 91.9% field goal percentage, actually the same exact percent as Jason Myers. Now, my sleeper kicker, let's say you don't get one of those top 3 picks, got to look out for Eddie Pinheiro of the Carolina Panthers. He went very much under the radar, but he was actually the top kicker in the league percentage-wise. He went 33 for 35 on field goal attempts. He hit 94.3% of his field goals, the most in the league. So Eddie Pinheiro, that's a sleeper pick right there for kicker. So look out for him. All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go over running backs. We're going to go over team defenses. You are tuned into HCAM Sports Talk. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. And welcome back to HCAM Sports Talk. Tom Nappy here. We're going over fantasy football. It's draft season. A lot of those drafts are happening this week. So we're trying to fill you in on some guys that we think here on the show that you should look at in your fantasy football draft. The next position we're going to go over is running back. Here's Steve Watson's picks. He picked at his number 3, Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. Henry's a beast. He just runs over people. And let's face it, folks, the Titans don't have a lot of offensive power. So Derrick Henry is certainly a guy to look at. And he's a guy you're going to have to probably get in the first round. I don't see him going to round 2, but if he does, scoop him right up because that is unbelievable. That would be shocking if he went to round 2. Derrick Henry, absolute beast. At number 2, he has Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns. He had a breakout season last year and provided most of the Browns' offense. He'd be a tremendous pickup. Again, another guy you're probably going to have to get in round 1. I believe statistically, he might have been the top running back in the league last year. I believe he was. And number 1 for Steve, Tony Pollard of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, I'm going to spoil it right now. Steve and I have that in common. We both have Tony Pollard at number 1. And the reason is last year, not that Pollard put up like the most impressive numbers. He put up really good numbers. He was one of the top running backs in the league for sure. But last year, he had to compete with Ezekiel Elliott for carries. Ezekiel Elliott is now in New England. Tony Pollard is the lone stud running back for the Dallas Cowboys, which means he's probably going to get twice the production that he got last season. And if he's anything like he was last year, he's going to be putting up big numbers. So look out, Tony Pollard. Be sure to put him on your radar. My top 3 running backs. At number 3, I got Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs had a league-leading 13 touchdowns last season, and he averaged 97.2 yards per game and had 12 touchdowns overall. Josh Jacobs, he's a guy that might fly a little under the radar. You might be able to pick him up in round 2 because when it comes to running backs, let's face it, not many people think of the Raiders. So maybe you catch the rest of your league sleeping, and he's a guy you can pick up. And at number 2, I got the beast himself, Derrick Henry. I have to agree with Steve on Henry. He's just tremendous, and he's, I think, going to be the main source of Tennessee Titans offense. The Titans, they seem like they're trending towards a ground and pound team, and with Derrick Henry, that's the perfect running back to do it. So certainly put him on your round 1 radar. And my number 1, as I said earlier, it's Tony Pollard. I agree with Steve. I think this guy is going to be tremendous, and without Zeke competing for carries, it's going to be all up to Pollard. So scoop him up if you can. All right, couple sleepers for you at the running back position. How about this one? Dalvin Cook of the New York Jets. They signed him in free agency. Now, Cook, he's had some injury issues, but he put up good numbers last year. And let's see if I can read my horrible writing. He put up 1,122 yards, and he also had 5 touchdowns. Now, he was injured a lot last year, but he still got over that 1,000-yard threshold, which is very impressive. And I think, I like Zeke. I'm glad the Patriots signed him, but Dalvin Cook was a free agent too. I prefer Cook over Zeke. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. Time will tell, but I would go Dalvin Cook over Zeke. Absolutely. So I wish the Patriots did that, but they didn't. Hopefully Zeke works out. All I know is I think the Jets got themselves a good sleeper running back in Dalvin Cook. My other sleeper, Miles Sanders from the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a guy who impressed a lot last year. He had 4.9 average yards per run, 11 touchdowns, and 96.1 yards per game. And I'll tell you what, that's pretty impressive considering you got one of the top rushing quarterbacks in the league. And actually, I believe yardage-wise, he might have been the top rushing quarterback in Jalen Hurts. So the fact that Miles Sanders is still getting that big chunk of work with that rushing quarterback, that is impressive. And I'll tell you what, Jalen Hurts got a little shooken up at times last year, injury-wise, because they were putting, I think, too much pressure on him to run the ball. And I think if guys like Jalen Hurts and Pat Mahomes want longevity, and you saw the Chiefs do this with Mahomes, they took away some of those rush attempts. It won't surprise me if the Eagles do that with Hurts and they give more rushing attempts to Miles Sanders, especially after his tremendous performance last season. And Miles Sanders, that is a guy that you might be able to scoop up in round 3 or 4. He'll likely go in round 2, I think, but I think in some leagues he's going to fall around 3-4. So that is a guy to look at. Miles Sanders, I think he's pretty underrated as well. All right, so there's our top running backs. The last position we got for you is team defense. In the standard fantasy football league, you got your quarterback, you got your 2 running backs, you got your 3 receivers, you got your tight end, you got your kicker, and you got your team defense. So for team defense, Steve Watson, his top 3. New England, number 3. I like New England. I think they have a better defense than offense for sure. In fact, it was their defense last season that really kept them in the hunt for a wild card spot. And I think New England's defense will take a step up this year. I think their pass rush got a little bit better, but they did lose some guys. Devin McCourty retired, which was very sad. He's one of my favorite all-time Patriots. And certainly a big name to lose, but they did get some good guys in the draft, and I think their pass rush might be a little bit better this season. So New England, good defense to look at. Do I have them in my top 3? You'll find out shortly. Number 2 for Steve, Dallas. The Cowboys, they had one of the top defenses in the league last year, and their defense took a huge step up from 2021, the 2021 season. So Dallas, pretty good defense, not bad. Are they number 2 worthy? I don't think so. Number 1, San Francisco. I agree with Steve on this. Spoiler alert. I have San Francisco as my number 1 defense as well. The 49ers were absolutely tremendous last season, and it was their defense that got them all the way to the NFC Championship. They had a league-leading 300 yards per game given up, which is the lowest in the league. They only gave up 300 yards a game, essentially, and they only gave up an average of 16.3 points. San Francisco's defense was the key to their success last year, and if you're taking one of those top team defense picks, 49ers is the number 1 in the league, according to Steve and myself. All right, here's my top 3. Number 3, I got the New York Football Jets. They were one of the top defenses in the league, not far behind the 49ers statistically. They gave up an average of 18.6 points per game and an average of 311 yards. And they have some young talent that they've drafted recently. The Jets have done a tremendous job in the draft with defensive players, and they are going to be tough this season, especially now that they have a quarterback. I'm not going to lie, folks. I think the Jets are going to do big things this year. And I think that is a defense that you should definitely scoop up if you have the opportunity. My number 2 is the Buffalo Bills. Now, I was really having a long debate if I wanted to put the Jets 2 or the Bills 2. I went with the Bills. I guess the tiebreaker was their numbers last year. They gave up only 17.9 points per game compared to the Jets' 18.6, which really is not a big difference at all. They did give up more yards, though, 319 yards per game. So I would argue that if you're choosing between the Jets and Buffalo, I don't think you could go wrong either way. And thinking about it, I actually probably want to put the Jets at number 2 and Buffalo at number 3 because the Jets are a little bit younger, and I think they have more potential at growth than the Buffalo Bills do. But you're getting a good defense with either the Jets or the Bills. And my number 1, as I said earlier, I agreed with Steve. It was the San Francisco 49ers. Top defense in the league last year. Their defense single-handedly led them to their successful season, and I think it has a big chance at doing that again. They didn't lose a lot of guys. They didn't lose any big names off that defense. So I think the 49ers, they got a great defensive system, and they're going to be good again this season. Well, there you have it. Our fantasy football recommendations. We'll certainly have more going forward. And as the games start, as the regular season starts, guess what? We'll be bringing back NFL picks, where we will go around the table and we'll pick every week who we think is going to win each game. And if for some reason we don't have a show that week, we will post it on our website, HCAM.TV, along with that week's show. So if we don't do the picks on the show, you'll be able to see them on the website, HCAM.TV. And I'm looking for some revenge this season. Last year, it was Jared Keene, who was the NFL picks champion. I'm hoping to get my throne back. I had it for 2 years. Jared ripped it away from me last season. I'm hoping to change that this year. So let's go. It's football time, folks, and you should certainly be excited. The NFL season is here, and HCAM Sports Talk is back, and we'll get the guys back on the show hopefully next week. It won't just be me talking to you, although I love talking to you, so it doesn't bother me at all. But I'm sure you'd like to see the other guys as well. And, of course, our classic back-and-forth conversations. But we'll have Andy Barron from MyFM 101.3 back on the show. Steve Watson's going to be coming back, Jared Keene. So be on the lookout for upcoming editions of HCAM Sports Talk. But right now, we are going to take you back to last fall for the Hopkinton Hillers. And as we enter the 2023-2024 fall high school sports season, here's a recap of some of the things that happened during the Hopkinton Hillers fall sports season last year. As always, we thank you for watching and enjoy some highlights from the last fall season for the Hillers. Hopkinton Hillers girls volleyball entered the Division II state playoffs. As the 20th seed with an 11-9 record, they fell in the round of 32 to 13-seeded Canton in a very good back-and-forth game, 3-2. You can view the whole game broadcast on our YouTube page, youtube.com/HCAM-TV. Hopkinton ends the season 11-10. Congratulations on a great season to the team and first-year head coach, Emma Sweetapple. After defeating Nauset in the first round, 13th-seeded Hiller Field Hockey fell on the road to 4th-seeded Longmeadow by a final of 3-0. Hillers finished the season with 10 wins, 5 losses, and 5 ties. Congratulations to the team and first-year head coach Allison Valencia on a terrific season. After a road win versus 14th-seeded Lexington in the first round, 19th-seeded Hopkinton girls soccer fell to 3rd-seeded Bishop Feehan in the round of 16. Hopkinton finishes the season with 13 wins, 4 losses, and 3 ties. Congratulations to the team and head coach Tom Skiba on a great run. Second-seeded Hiller Boys Soccer hosted 34th-seeded Fitchburg in the round of 32 on Sunday, November 6th. It was a scoreless game heading to overtime. Peter DiMichele nets the game-winning goal very early off a corner in overtime to give the Hillers a 1-0 win and send his team to the Sweet 16. Next round, second-seeded Hillers hosted a very good 18th-seeded Sharon Eagles team. Here's a look at what was a crazy wild game. One of the best divisions in the league. There's a shot, wrapped up by Nye. Trying to work his way in, sends it across, shot, and it's wide.
Into Mashad he goes. Mashad along the end line. Sends it across. DeMcKelly and sends it wide. Looking to approach. Sent across. Out in front and wide. Sends it over. Shot. And it's deflected. And not able to pick it up. Samaga takes it. Deflected and it's out. Puts on a move. Shot. And it's wrapped up. Good shot by DeMcKelly. DeMcKelly airs it out, trying to catch him off guard. And that will do it for the first half. Well, it has the look of a playoff game, it has the feel of a playoff game, and it certainly has the play of a playoff game. Rashad putting on the move, sends it out to the net, and it's wrapped up. Airs it out to the net, off the post! And out of play. Oh, it was an absolute beauty. Ainelli works it in. Cross shot, no! Just a little too high. Bilo scoots it back. Satish Kumar, shot, and it is wrapped up by Bauer. It's a good setup. Sends it out, Andrew Bilobreski. Bilo puts on a move, takes a shot, it's wrapped up by Bauer. Here comes Eastman. Takes it wide. Out in front, and it's deflected by Andrew Bilobreski and now wrapped up by Nye. Eastman takes a long shot, wrapped up by Nye. Good save. Smart decision going for that. Good steal that was. And that is going to do it as DeMcKelly bangs it off the crossbar. The shot would not have counted anyway, so it was after the whistle. But we are heading to overtime. Out in front, shot, and it is deflected. Trying to take it away. Here goes Birnbaum. Into the box, deflected. Gets it over. Out in front, shot, it's just high. Adam Eastman nearly had the game winner. That's the end of the first overtime period. We remain scoreless. Racing down. Out in front, takes it, and it's just wide. The box out, there's Tane Das. Into the box. Oh, no, I nearly dropped it, just able to hang on. Out in front, shot, wrapped up. That was Birnbaum. With it is Kolinikov. Sharon looking to rush up the far side. Into the box, and Nye slides out and grabs it. Mashad looking to turn it, takes it, and it's wrapped up. Good pressure by the Hillers. Final moments of the second overtime period. Mashad eludes a defender, another one. Takes it! Oh, it's in! Unbelievable! Dylan Mashad wins the game! Wow, what a shot! He burns by the defenders and nets it And the Hillers are moving on to the Elite Eight. Dylan Mashad with the game winner.
Hillers take the 1-0 win in the second overtime period, courtesy of Dylan Mashad, and advance on to the Elite Eight. In the round of 8, the second-seeded Hillers hosted 10th-seeded Wayland in a game that was one for the ages. Here's a look at how it all went down.
Just a little bit too far in front of the intended target, Medeiros. Centering pass up top. Takes the shot. It's in. Wayland strikes first. Number 10 for Wayland makes it 1-0. Trying to approach. Mashad. Smaga fed it over. Mashad centers it. DiMichele responds. We're not at one. What a beauty of a setup by Mashad and Samaga for DiMichele. Golubieski trying to sneak it through. Sent away by Getz. Santos approaching. Sends it over. Prince with the crossheader, and it's in! That was a good setup by Ryan Prince, and Zauderna puts it in. A 2-1 Wayland lead. That was a smart move there. You don't have too much. Pop it off the defender and get that corner. DiMichele. Header in! Jack Green! We're knotted at 2 apiece. Wow, what a first half it's been. DiMichele will get the assist. Green gets the goal. And just like that, we're tied up once again at 15:34 left to go. Iannelli back to Mick. Airs it out. Off of Bilo. I don't know if he meant to make contact with that one. It looked like it would have been wide if he just let it through. Crawford sends it up. And that is going to do it. And at the end of a very exciting half of play, it is Hopkinton 2, Wayland 2. We have a whole nother half to go, so strap in, folks. It's going to be quite the finish in this one. You are DiMichele to the net. Loose ball. Oh, and it's just popped out of the box. Header, Golubieski, and it's wide. They lost where the ball was for a moment, and Grayson gets out of the corner of his eye, played it off the post. Unbelievable. Airs it out. Top of the box. Shot wide by Golubieski. Leave Garan on the corner. Airs it out, chips it into the box. Header. And he'll go to the near side. Collected by Quinn. He'll send it over to the net, and it's punched out by Nye. 10 seconds, we're being told. They are not adding time, so it truly is the final moments. And that is going to do it for half number 2. We are heading to overtime. What other way did you expect this was going to go? It's Hopkinton 2, Wayland 2. What a tremendous game it's been. Medeiros, shot, Nye deflects it and wraps it up. What a save! Oh, boy. Centering pass, header, into the box, shot, and it's just a little high. And that is going to do it for overtime number 1. We are going to have a second overtime period. On Wednesday night, the Hillers scored in the last seconds of that second overtime to win. Can they do it again? Out in front, and it's cleared away. Heckley, too much. Oh, you'd like to have that one back. We are going to penalty kicks. Unbelievable. Looks like Eric Hybert is in net for Wayland. Well, it all comes down to this. Penalty kicks. Peter D. McKelly. And it's in! And it's good. 1-1. And it's in. This is Andrew Medeiros. And no good! Good save by Nye! And it's in! And it's in. Wayland stays alive. 3-2. In. He goes left corner and gets the job done. Well, the Hillers are in charge. A miss here. That's it. And it's no good. Oh, wait, it is good. And he does it! And the Hillers are moving on to the Final Four! Unbelievable! Sean Golembeski clinches it! What a game! The Hillers take it via penalty kicks.
Hopkinton went 5 for 5 on penalty kicks and takes the 3-2 overtime win over Wayland to move on to the Division II state semifinals. Second-seeded Hopkinton will battle third-seeded Bedford in the next round at Doyle Field in Leominster. Congratulations to the team and Coach Sawyer on the tremendous achievements.
Position? Declan Mick, center back.
Dylan Mashad, left mid.
Carlos Henkel, center to defensive mid.
Drew Bilobreski, winger.
Derek Hatherley, center mid. Sean McCann, right center back.
Will Bilobreski, left center back.
It feels amazing. We're all really excited. Looking forward to a new experience, neutral site. So don't know exactly what to expect, but we're going in looking for the best.
What's it been like playing with this group all year?
I mean, it's been amazing. We've been all playing together pretty much since 8th grade. Some of us even since we were like 5 or 6 years old. So we got a lot of team chemistry. We're all very close. So it's been a very fun year.
And 3 overtime wins to get to this point.
Yep.
Including an overtime win in the first overtime, one in the second, one in the shootout. Did you ever think that would be the case?
No, it never really occurred to me that was going to be happening. It could have fooled me if you told me that 3 weeks ago. But as Coach Collins has been saying, we're a pretty gritty team. So, a win's a win. We fight really hard for each win. So we're just glad to come out on top each time so far.
Hey, Dylan, you had quite a goal against Sharon. That was unbelievable. How did it feel when you scored that goal?
I felt so good. I really forget most of it. I remember I cut in on the first kid, and I was looking for a pass because I thought I was over-dribbling all game. Then I cut in on the next kid, and our head coach yelled, "Don't shoot." So I decided in that moment I'm going to take the shot. So I took the shot, put my head down, I looked up, it was in the back of the net, and it was really great to celebrate with the whole town.
I'm going to assume the coach wasn't too mad about it.
He was quite happy at the end. He was glad I was the hero.
What's it been like playing with this group all year?
I know these boys so well. I love all of them. As Declan said, we've been playing together forever, and I've met a lot of these kids. Like most of them, maybe not that one, but besides that, they're all good.
Terrific. And how's it feel to go into the state semis?
So excited. I'm so excited. We've been talking about this since 8th grade. We had a really good run in 8th grade, and we were saying when we're seniors, we're going to go all the way. We're going to do everything, and we're living that dream right now.
It's just been a lot of fun, just being on a team that's this good, and, most people don't get the opportunity to do that. So it's been a great experience.
And how's it feel to be going to the state semifinals?
It's really cool. I've always wanted to, win a state championship, and we're getting really close to that. And I'm just really excited to play tomorrow and get that chance.
I gotta ask, were you guys having trouble walking after some of these games?
Yeah, it's been really tiring, but we just have to keep grinding. Lots of yoga and recovery with Coach Collins. We've been doing our best. So it's a short postseason. So you just got to recover.
Oh man, I'm feeling good. Teams are doing well. Been coming away with some pretty close wins, but we found a way to do it. So
I just wonder, what's it been like for you playing with this group all season?
It's been great. Team Chem this year is just through the roof. Spaggers, going out to eat anywhere, just great group of kids.
All right, terrific. And I'm going to guess not too much practice really outside before tomorrow, or are you going to get a practice?
Practice inside. It's going to be fairly quick, a little bit of yoga, some stretching, so yeah.
Feeling great. We've been talking about this since the beginning, and like Dylan said, we've been looking forward to this for years. We were the best 8th grade team in the middle school, so I think our class is pretty special, and we're bringing it to the high school.
All right, and what's it been like playing with this group?
It's a great group. A lot of us have been playing together for many, many years. I've been playing with Peter since I was like 3 years old, so I've just known these kids forever, and it's a great team.
I'm feeling great too. I would like to note that our class has also had a very, very good middle school season. I don't know if it's best in the school history, but not quite. Maybe second best. But I just remember playing with some of these kids just forever ago. I was a 3rd grader playing with some of these guys who are now seniors, and it's kind of crazy how this is all happening, coming to an end. Seeing all these guys grow up, and I remember playing with Los when he was all small, and it's just, yeah. But it's just been such a great experience watching these guys playing. It's awesome.
All right, well, you got the middle school championship, now going to high school.
It's been so exciting. We've been looking for this all season. We've been working for the state championship. Even before the season started, just in the camps, we were looking for a state championship in our minds. We wanted to win the TVL. We wanted to have a great record and get to this far, and we're doing it so far. So we have to just keep pushing through, keep getting gritty wins, and beat the next team.
And how great was that moment when you won the shootout against Wales?
It was so exciting. I didn't even get to shoot, but just like watching it go in, I sprinted right after Sean as soon as he perfect upper right-hand corner shot. It was so exciting. And Max Nye, perfect save, made us win the game almost. So it was just a great moment overall.
It's been a long, hard, cold at some times days, and it's it's hard to wrap my head around it right now. It's kind of still so surreal, but it's been an awesome journey, and just so much fun with this group of boys. We're all brothers on and off the field, so it's been really special.
Right. Did you have trouble walking after some of these games?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Yep.
It must feel good that you guys have been playing together pretty much the last 3-4 years now. Finally making this far and things got set.
Yeah, it's been awesome. You know, I didn't play 8th grade with these guys. I would have loved to, but knee problems said otherwise. But you know, the past 3 years with these guys have been awesome. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for it.
It's fun. Everyone's very nice to me. And I'm just happy I was here for the seniors last season on the team and I got to play with them. And they drive me around a lot, and it's just been fun.
Pretty good. You know, I've been on the team for 3 years, so, you know, last year was a bit of a heartbreaker, losing right before the banner, but, you know, this year's a big payout for all of us.
And it must feel great to reach that milestone after being here for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years for us, you know, longer time for the coaches, you know, so it's been a lot of work, a lot of time put into this, and we finally hit it, so 2 more to go now.
What's it been like working with these coaches? They seem like great guys.
Oh, yeah, they're both, like, very good man managers. You know, they take care of all of us. They make sure, you know, everyone's involved, everyone's happy. Very smart as well. You know, they're always prepared for the games. They always keep us prepared, so.
All right, well, we're looking forward to the next round.